Here's some indignant pedantry, some pedantic indignation, the kind that you'd only get from a Guardian reader. A pop-up museum has been set up in Edinburgh celebrating the witticisms of Scottish Twitter. And that's a good idea. It's applauding funny people who wouldn't necessarily be celebrated by the mainstream comedy scene. They've not come up through the standard comedy path. They are the general public using Twitter and being funny, and we should reward that. The museum's apparently found Scotland's funniest tweet, and I'm sure that's going to be the funniest thing that a Scottish person has come up with since the inception of Twitter. Or, not that. So here it is from Mark Simpson. Oh, that's just the mature cheese joke. When you throw cheese at someone and they say that wasn't very mature, or they say that was mature in a sarcastic tone. That joke that's existed for ages that everyone tells, that's been on the internet since at least 2010, but it's probably much, much older than that. It was probably invented the first time someone used the word mature to describe cheese, because when a word has two meanings, that's when you can make funny. I do not know if there's a traceable first author of this joke, and I don't know if they're Scottish, but unless anyone can be found, and if you're out there, let me know in the comments. I'm just going to call this a public domain joke. There's loads of public domain jokes. We know loads of jokes that everyone knows. They don't belong to anyone. I like the idea of jokes belonging to everyone. It's nice and communist. But it's wrong to attribute authorship when it can be disproved. We don't know if he actually came up with that joke many, many years ago. That would be a twist. I've got nothing against Mark that I know of. He was just using Twitter 2 years ago to repeat a familiar joke, which is how some people use Twitter. Some people use it to be original and creatively funny, some people promote fascism, and some people tell old jokes. What I disagree with is the researchers and the panel calling this Scotland's funniest tweet. It's dismissive to all the creatively funny Scottish people on Twitter. And this panel of professional, experienced comedians, apparently none of them had heard that joke before because they chose that and called it the best joke. There was some better stuff on the shortlist. There was some other shit stuff. The punchline here is a man saying a thing that a woman might say. Cause different, yeah. It's disregarding all the creatively, genuinely funny Scottish tweets in favour of something that just repeats old stuff. This tweet is centre stage at the museum, and people are going to go there and be excited to see what Scotland's funniest ever tweet is, and it's just that old joke that they're familiar with, or if they're not familiar with it, then it's been misattributed to a Scottish person. It's really not good representation. I tweet unoriginal jokes all the time. Look at this, that's a month ago, and I posted it as if it's mine, and of course loads of people have come up with that in the past, because it just combines two well-known myths about ribs. There's the removing a rib for fellatio myth, and there's the Genesis myth. The joke rewards your familiarity with those two pop culture references, and it also ends on a blunt, rude word. Well, I hope it's blunt. And it's got a kind of blasphemous appeal too. It's a decent concept for a joke, and of course other people have come up with it in the past, and I recognize that, and I do not claim original authorship. This one's better anyway. And Mark wasn't necessarily claiming original authorship, but it is strongly implied by awarding him Scotland's funniest tweet, especially when it's against funny tweets that people authored. I used to be really careful when I came up with jokes and posted them online to check if anyone else had made the same joke first. Just search some of the keywords from it, and if no one else has said it, then it is mine, and if they have, then I can just retweet theirs. I don't do that anymore. It's not really a problem on Twitter. You can just casually come up with something, and if someone else happens to have come up with it before, that's because the pieces of the joke were there in language. They were just waiting to be put together, and someone got there first, and anyone can reach that joke destination. This isn't really the same case because he's clearly heard that joke before. He wasn't necessarily claiming authorship when he tweeted it, he was just passing it on. I mean, he's graciously accepted the award for funniest tweet, but The bit of that joke that anyone can come up with without having heard it before is using the word mature in the two different contexts. The bit of it that proves that he's heard it before is that it involved the first-person character having had cheese thrown at them, because that's quite a specific action that someone who was coming up with that pun afresh wouldn't necessarily arrive at. So I'm just disappointed with the people who decided that was Scotland's funniest tweet, because that's a really bad example. That's an old joke that's not necessarily Scottish, and plenty of Scottish people tweet original funny stuff, and I figured that's what they should be applauding, instead of recycling old material and pedestaling someone who just passed it on.